dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Day 5 of miner protests in Harlan County. They want their unpaid wages in their bank accounts. Now there is some big news today in those efforts. We learned state officials sent Black Jewel and its former CEO a notice of violations of state law and levied a more than $366,000 fine. It's all in connection to a bond Black Jewel should have posted when the company started mining here in 2017. That bond is required to cover the company's entire payroll for 4 weeks. Also today, we heard from Governor Matt Bevin during an event in Louisville. The governor says he talked to President Trump about the miners during last night's rally in Cincinnati.
He's aware of it, absolutely. We talked about that, among other things. These are the people who elected him. These are the people who are grateful that we have in him a president who fights for those that others who blow smoke and promise things to do nothing for.
Also today, Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear, who is challenging the governor, of course, this November, called for the firing of Labor Secretary David Dickerson. Meanwhile, insiders following the auction of Black Jewel mines told us the process entered day 2 this afternoon. We are told negotiations between attorneys and coal executives went into the late hours yesterday. Needless to say, miners want to know what's going on. WYMT's Emily Bennett is live in Harlan County and talked to some of those anxious miners today. Emily?
Yes, Steve, it's been kind of a fairly quiet afternoon here on the tracks as the miners are taking shifts and they're also looking for work. But I talked to a few of the miners and they say they're just tired of being in limbo. A month without answers and now more questions with the mines being at auction.
Been in limbo for a month now. We'd like for somebody to buy it and get us back to work, but we'd like to have our money we done work for first, you know.
The miners agree they just want to be back to work, but not for Black Jewel.
You can't get nothing to work with, and it makes it harder on us.
All the miners have roots here and do not want to move.
And I'm 5 minutes from the house working up there. I'd love to go back to work up there, but it's the only kind of option we got is working coal business in this county, and I love my county and my hometown. This is where I want to stay at, you know.
Many of the miners are going to the first court hearing against Black Jewel on Monday.
I reckon they took a head count and want to know how many people they can get to go, and want to know who would go if they did get some buses or something organized for us. And I wrote my name down, told them I'd go to West Virginia with them.
Wanting to put a face on their struggles. Now, Steve, these miners are tired and they're frustrated just wanting answers. But many of them tell me that no matter how long it takes, they're going to fight to get what they owed. In Harlan County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Emily, thank you. Some of those miners started the process of training for a new career today. 17 Black Jewel miners were accepted into Hazard Community and Technical College's latest lineman class. This is video of their orientation. So many people applied to the class that the Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program added another class in September. The deadline to apply for that one is September 9th. We are told miners' wives may also be eligible for training assistance through EKSEP. As the miners continue to fight for their pay, people from all over have shown support for the families. Local and state lawmakers have dropped by all week to show their support for the cause. House Minority Leader Rocky Adkins joined the group today to stand shoulder to shoulder with people he says are the hardest working Americans. He says the miners are only fighting for what belongs to them and they should be taken care of.
And we need to do everything we can as Americans at the federal government level, to the state government, to the court system, whatever process needs to be taken, that these miners are put as the top priority and on the front burner to be given the wages that they have earned.
Yesterday, we learned Congressman Rogers urged the U.S. Department of Labor to send employees from Atlanta to investigate. Now, here are some things to keep on your radar involving the Black Jewel protest. A bankruptcy hearing, as we've been telling you, is still scheduled for Monday in Charleston, West Virginia. Officials will have buses in Harlan to take miners to that event. They expect to load up at 5 a.m. Today, we learned that on Monday morning, there will be a big announcement at the courthouse in Harlan involving relief for Black Jewel miners. That begins at 9 a.m., and we do plan on streaming that on WYMT.com. Meanwhile, in Pineville, employees at the hospital there remain in limbo. The hospital has fallen on hard financial times. Since then, the city took it over looking for a new owner. The hospital went up for bid and that process ended this week. But we are told the company bidding on it actually backed out abruptly. Right now, no one can really tell us what will come next. Police say a Laurel County woman went missing yesterday evening. Officers say they got the call this morning and have been searching ever since. Deputies are looking for this woman, Holly Parsley. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talks to police about the search, who they are looking for near Laurel Lake.
Many times, police search for missing people only for them to turn up a short time later or get information on their whereabouts.
A lot of our missing persons cases are runaways and people that's left on their own accord or jumped in the car with somebody else or left with somebody else.
But that is not the case with Holly Parsley, who police say walked into the woods in the Bald Rock area of Laurel County on Thursday evening and has not been seen or heard from since. Police say they do not know why.
In this particular instance, we're just not sure what's happened out there, and so that does make us concerned. All the cases does, but this one especially, because we don't know any other circumstances besides she walked into the woods and disappeared.
And police say time is not on their side when it comes to a missing persons case.
We are now conducting a land search out there, and we've tried to ping her phone as well, trying to locate her.
And thus far, crews are having a difficult time locating her. Police say they will continue to battle the tough terrain and conditions to find Holly, as they always do when it comes to a missing person.
So that's a real remote rural area back in there. There's a lot of rock cuts and cliffs and dangerous areas out in there.
The terrain is their biggest concern right now, but they hope to have answers soon. However, they will not quit until they find Holly Parsley. In Laurel County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say crews will be searching the area unless they get tips that lead elsewhere.
You just heard some of that thunder in Hannah's package. It's definitely been on and off throughout the day. We do have that flash flood warning. I'm going to take you there first. That's for parts of Pike County, the Feds Creek area. You can see pretty isolated area. We're starting to see it die down a little bit, which is some good news, but that warning goes until 8:45. So definitely could be seeing some flash flooding, some high water issues in that area. So just make sure to turn around, do not drown, do not drive through a flooded roadway. Taking a look at the bigger picture, some of us getting in on those rain chances, others are not. As we look down into parts of McCreary County, Whitley County, even over into Knox County, Laurel and Clay County, you guys are all dealing with just some very heavy downpours, some lightning, and definitely some thunder. But if you're up in the Big Sandy, you're looking pretty good today. And as we look at those flood advisories, you can see multiple of those have been issued for really the same counties I was just telling you about. Those will go for the next about an hour or so. I'm sure they'll start to actually be canceled once those rain chances start to move out of our area. You'll notice temperatures, of course, a little bit cooler where the rain is falling. But for those of you who are not getting any of that rain, a little bit hot and humid out there, we'll take a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Paige. The National Transportation Safety Board is working to find out what caused a deadly gas pipeline explosion in Lincoln County. One woman died and others were hurt. The concern now is two other pipelines that sit around 25 feet away from the source of that massive explosion. So far, they have dropped pressure in both and are continuing to check for leaks. When that natural gas pipeline exploded, a 30-foot section was ejected from the ground. That section will be taken to NTSB headquarters where it will be inspected. The NTSB also released a compression station nearby that did have a reported leak in May of 2019 within a safety device. However, they cannot say if that is the cause of this accident.
Our mission is to understand not just what happened, but why it happened, and to recommend changes to prevent it from reoccurring again. We will not be determining probable cause of this accident while we are here on scene, nor will we speculate about what may have caused this accident.
The NTSB expects their investigation to last another week at the scene. Moments ago, we learned what killed a Whitley County toddler yesterday. Troopers say 2-year-old Aubrey Rose was found unresponsive yesterday afternoon. An autopsy revealed she died of hyperthermia or excessive heat. She had been reported missing earlier in the day. State police say she was found inside a car at her family's home. The Hope House homeless shelter in downtown Hazard will not reopen in the foreseeable future. The shelter closed its doors last month following a murder involving 2 people who were staying there. Since then, officials have been transporting anyone seeking shelter to facilities in nearby counties. Now, for those who know someone needing help, we have numbers you can call at WYMT.com. A tiny town in the Purchase region of western Kentucky is preparing for one of the largest picnics and most unique political stump-speaking events in the nation. Fancy Farm has a population of just more than 500, but tomorrow it will host more than 10,000 who want to hear political candidates and fill up on spicy barbecue. WYMT's Phil Pendleton shows us more about what to expect at this year's event.
Rows of corn and campaign signs greet those rolling into Fancy Farm in rural Graves County. It's fitting for this event, known as much for its pork as its politics.
It's what we consider it's the old-style stump-speaking event.
Possibly more drama is expected this year given the long-standing feud between incumbent Governor Matt Bevin and challenger Attorney General Andy Beshear.
It's well established that these candidates don't like each other. They make that clear every day with the stands they take against each other and against their policies. They have both called each other corrupt and worse.
Of course, the governor's race will be the main event, the big draw for many of the people coming tomorrow. But the speeches heard tomorrow for those candidates running for Attorney General could also get quite interesting.
The newcomer, Daniel Cameron, facing the veteran Politico in Greg Stumbo. It really sets the scene for what could be tense speeches as they go against each other.
Many will say the politics is the main course.
It's half a sheep.
With the food being the side dish, yet 10,000 people will eat more than 20,000 pounds of spicy barbecue, pork and mutton.
I bet you don't like all the old people like mutton, and they've got most of the young ones now. They eat a lot of mutton, Got used to it, and it's good. Mutton's a little stronger, than pork, but it's, I'd rather have it over pork 2 to 1.
Food will be served all day. The political stump speaking will start around 3 o'clock Eastern Time. In Graves County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Should be interesting. The picnic is free, but the food and drinks will cost you. All the proceeds go to the St. Jerome Catholic Church and its various missions. And of course, we'll have some of the highlights tomorrow night on our newscast. Well, the Kentucky football team lost 18 seniors last season, the majority of those on defense. It was a staple in the success Kentucky saw in 2018 with guys like Josh Allen, Mike Edwards, and Lonnie Johnson going in the NFL draft. The Cats are looking for a new leader on the other side of the ball, and that leader right now is Paintsville's own Cash Daniel. Cash says the bar was set high last year, but this year's team is looking to move it up even higher.
We're just going to build off what we did last year and, take the players of what we got, and just build something that nobody's really seen before here. So you may think that we had a really good defense last year. Can we replicate that? And so that's what our challenge is here in this camp. That's what our challenge is here throughout the whole season. Prediction-wise, I can't predict anything, but I can say that this defense's goal is to be the most feared defense in the country. So that's our goal.
Cash Daniel will begin his senior season August 31st. Kentucky will host Toledo as the first of a 3-game homestand to open the 2019 season. More on UK Media Day.
And we're keeping a close eye on those scattered showers and storms. Very heavy at times. We still have that flash flood warning into parts of Pike County. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
And just ahead, we'll explain why the Osborne Brothers Hometown Festival is much more than a few musicians.